get things going when, or at least settle your feet whenever you're getting hit so often?
You know, people might look at it and think that there's a little pressure, but it falls on me a little bit too. I got to just get the ball out a little bit quicker. So you know, the defense or the offensive line, you know, they played super hard all day, and you know, it's tough when they come out with as many different looks as Purdue did. So you know, that falls on me a lot of the times too, to just get the ball out quicker.
Was it just the variety of looks that had you confused? They show you something you didn't expect?
No, I mean, they didn't show us anything that we didn't see or prepare for. It's just tough to prepare well for you know, every single look that they have, especially when there's so many of them. But you know, they played really well all day, and you know, they just played a lot harder than we did.
How do you explain as a quarterback what happened 2 weeks ago against Ohio State and what's happened the last 2 weeks, just as a team? Like, how does that happen?
You know, they were just ready to play more than we were. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. So.
How does that happen in Week 11?
It's a good question. You know, we just need to be more ready to play.
Why do you think, especially in the second half, you guys have the lead? I mean, they get a touchdown, and then it seemed like you guys couldn't ever get anything going. Why I guess was the second half so stagnant after you had the scoring drive in the first?
You know, they came out and played a little harder than we did. You know, they just came out and executed better than we did. So.
How much did the wind factor in?
Yeah, obviously they took advantage of it. You know, in the third quarter, and we couldn't execute when we wanted to. So I mean, it plays a little bit in play calling.
Was it? Did you want to get those passes off with the wind? Did the protection just not hold up long enough? How much does that change the playbook versus the wind when the protection's not holding up like that?
You know, again, I don't think I would say the protection. Man, I think that they you know, did a good job covering guys downfield. You know, some of the plays that we ran, you know, they did a good job, and they just executed well in the secondary.
How much you work on that front in practice, and is that just a field thing?
You know, we work on it a little bit. So it's just when a situation comes up like that. So.
They're not going to throw anybody on the bus, but the drop passes seem to be a continuing issue for this team. I mean, how detrimental is that, and how can you fix that?
You know, again, I think just coming out and being completely focused. You know, not worrying about running before you catch the ball, but you know, again, some of those throws I can put in a better spot, so make it easier on the receivers.
How much have you noticed them game planning for TJ and Noah, especially on, you know, critical down situations?
Yeah, no, I mean, they did a lot to take away, you know, the tight end. So, you know, some other guys, you know, especially in that last drive, stepped up and made some plays. So, you know, we just need to do that more consistently.
Do you ever feel like you had any sort of go-to play or anything that was any comfort zone in this game?
Yeah, I think felt pretty comfortable with anything that Coach Brian Ferentz was calling. So, yeah, I mean, I felt comfortable with everything in the game play.
As far as moving the change in the game, was there a comfort level there?
I guess I'm not understanding.
You guys didn't really do much. I mean, you guys struggled. Was there? You know, what's the feeling when the offense is moving the second straight week? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, you know, I just have to you know, learn from it. Obviously, won in the middle of the game, and then just come out and execute a little bit better on the next series. You know, and also too just relying on the defense, and you know, that's one thing that Coach Ferentz always talks about is good team football. So you know, obviously we want to do a better job and help out the defense more than we have.
How do you gauge that? You know, you said they played harder, more ready to go. How do you gauge something like that? How can you tell that that was the case?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the execution that you see throughout the course of the game. You know, they you know, made some plays that you know, we could have had. So I mean, or should have had. So.
Okay, thanks, Nate.
Thanks. Definitely not the way you wanted to go out, I imagine.
Yeah, it's tough. It just shows you know you have to come out ready every week, and any team can do anything. So I mean you just come into every week, going 100% and try to get your best odds.
Josie, I know it's a tough loss. That's not how you want to end your career, but you got a short week between now and Nebraska. I don't know if you normally would like that, but after a couple tough defeats, you almost kind of welcome a short week. How you going to prepare for that? Is that going to be any different? How's that going to work for you?
Yeah, it's a little accelerated. So I mean, tonight some guys probably have to watch the game here, finish up and understand mistakes, understand the positives, and then I think tonight some of the guys might be able to move on to Nebraska, look at some of their tape, just get a general understanding of what they can do because I mean, as I said, it's an accelerated week, so definitely your body's gonna have to be physically ready. It's gonna definitely need a lot of sleep this week and be able to stay on task with your stuff. But the thing is, we don't have school, so guys should be able to put that extra time in.
Good luck to you for your future in February.
How emotional was it for you at the beginning of the game, and what was running through your mind?
Yeah, seeing my family out there, my two parents. It's good to see them out there, but you never want that day to come. You want to keep on playing football here, especially at a place like this. So, it sucks, but at the same time, it's a great accomplishment to go through this university, play football here, and just create the amazing relationships that I've created and everybody else has created through our football team.
What happened on those first two Purdue possessions of the second half?
We got a couple of big passes. They had the wind behind them. Threw it to their guy 21, who was a pretty good player. And the execution came down to execution. Doing your fundamental stuff.
How do you explain the drop off the past 2 weeks? It seems like an energy level and execution, like you're saying, on all three phases.
Yeah, it's something we need to shore up during the week. I think it's it comes down to the preparation before the battle's won before it's fought. So I think that's a thing that coach talks about. Multiple different coaches on the team talk about that. And it's just a thing, you have to work hard during the week if you want to come out on a Saturday or even this coming Friday, come out with a victory because the Big Ten's tough. It's a bunch of good competition. You never know each week.
Have you sensed any drop off or change in practice, or how have you gauged that coming into these last 2 weeks?
No, I haven't seen anything. Nothing that made me scared or made me feel better. I thought we've been practicing pretty well. I thought this week went well. I thought we executed the plays that we needed to execute. But it comes down to Saturday. It comes down to you need to be ready for the Saturday game. You can do all the execution on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but it matters on Saturday. So you have to have a combination of both.
Josie, you as a captain, a leader, what do you do in the next couple of days? Anything different to get the team more focused, perhaps?
I don't know. I mean, I think you just kind of you talk about it. I mean, after the game, we broke it down. I talked a little bit to the team about where do you want to be? Where do you want to be at the end of the season? Do you want to go to Detroit? Or do you want to go somewhere where it's kind of warm at least? So you really think about the end goal, kind of look in that and get in perspective for the guys. Maybe young guys that don't understand it as much or haven't seen this in past years. Just try to understand what can happen, and we could still finish the season strong. We could still finish with 2 wins at the end of the season.
Just from your perspective, I mean, how do you explain what happened against Ohio State beyond little things to what's happened these last 2 weeks just as a team?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. It's something we need to figure out. How we energized and how we had that much momentum during that game, and now we're up and down. We're the roller coaster right now, and we need to be able to sustain success and be able to keep on doing it. It's all about the execution. A couple drop balls, we had a couple missed picks too today. So I mean, it just comes down to going out there and doing your job.
Okay, thanks, Josie.
It hurts. Not the way we wanted to end our careers in Kinnick Senior. So.
Is that the worst part about it? This is your last game here?
I mean, that makes it a lot more difficult. Not every loss is frustrating, but that puts something else on top of it. So.
Yeah.
What did that first drive, the second half, really do for this? What did it mean for this game today?
Yeah, our focus is trying to start fast. At the beginning of the game and the second half, and we didn't do that. Right off the bat, they had 2 quick touchdowns, and that really hurt us. It gives them confidence and puts points on the board for them.
Felt like the defense was making some difference-making plays in the first half, but maybe not as many in the second half. Did you feel something changed there between the halves? Or?
The second half we were just giving up the deep ball. When they had the win in the third quarter, they were able to complete some deep balls, and in the first half we really weren't allowing that, and it hurt us.
How can you explain where this team's gone in the last 3 weeks, from beating Ohio State and then these back-to-back losses like this?
Yeah, a little bit of a roller coaster, and that's on us. We've been too inconsistent. We haven't executed well enough, and these last 2 weeks we haven't played well enough to win. We've gotten outplayed, and credit to those two teams, but we got to be better.
Yeah, I mean, we're working throughout the game. I mean, I thought we moved the ball well. We just couldn't execute at the end. So, we got to look forward to next week. Come back tomorrow. It's a short week, and have a good practice.
Some of the sentiment from the guys at the podium said that there was maybe a lack of focus or energy when the game got started. What was your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think every time you lose, there's always obviously a lack of focus. I mean, it's a tough one. You got to give credit to Purdue, though. They're a good team. They came out swinging, and they came out with it. So it sucks for us right now, but like I said, we got to come back this week and push forward. So,
how much was that game defined up front?
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, we knew they were going to throw stunts at us the entire game. Yeah, I mean, we had to be ready for that. And like I said, like they said, like you said, just lack of focus. So.
Rhythm on offense, too little, too late again today, or how do you explain it?
Just a lack of execution. We got to sustain drive and stay in front of the chains.
It's been a roller coaster, it feels like, on offense all year. What's it been like for you guys on offense to kind of live this high against Ohio State, lows like today?
It's been frustrating. We wish we could play better. Forget about it and on to the next one.
How long do you hold on to this? Do you start thinking about Nebraska tonight, or when do you move on?
It's a 24-hour rule, so once we get back in tomorrow, after the film, after we watch the tape, learn from the corrections on Nebraska.
Seems like Nate's getting hit a lot lately.
How that happens that quickly?
Nate said it seemed like they, meaning Purdue, was more focused and a little bit more energized today. Did you sense that as well?
They were the better team today. They went out there. We were energized too, but they came out. Hands off of them. They played hard.
You feel like you guys talk about practice during the week and preparing. Does it feel like you guys are prepared?
Yeah, we had a good week this week in practice. Yeah.
Is there any sense when you get into games that when things don't go bad that it's here we go again? Do you feel that at all?
Yeah. Bad things happen. You just gotta keep playing.
How do you bounce back and finish the year out strong?
Just get back to the drawing boards, get back practicing, and move on to Nebraska.
Thanks, Cochran.
A couple of guys have said it seemed like Purdue had more energy or more focus. Does that surprise you at this point in the season that you guys are at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what we see in practice, guys can hustle into the ball. I mean, showing a good enthusiasm and stuff like that. Just didn't show up today. I mean, give them credit. They played way better than us, and turned out good for them.
Can you make any sense of what it was like here 2 weeks ago when we were talking to you, and how, that feeling of what you guys did to Ohio State to what has happened the last 2 weeks?
I mean, it came to us getting a spark for the team going. Very first play, kind of getting the ball rolling, and we kind of never looked back. We playing with a high energy, and offense was playing high energy. Kind of just fed off of that on all phases.
And you just weren't able to recreate that these last 2 weeks? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah. Yep. So.
Thanks, Nick. You said it seemed like Purdue had more energy and was more focused. Did you sense that as well?
No, I didn't really sense that. Not when I was out there playing anything at all. I think that we were extremely focused and locked in as a defense. I just think we had a couple plays that got away from us. And yeah, that's about the gist of it, to tell you the truth.
They hit the 2 big passes early in the third quarter. Was that? Did it feel like you guys that were on your heels at that point? It kind of looked like that.
I mean, they were so quick. It's one of those deals. There's so much time left. Obviously, it stinks, but you got to get back up. And that's something that we've been striving to do as a defense. Is really, really try to just something bad happens, you got to flush it. I mean, and the beginning of the game, the first touchdown, I was against my guy. I was covering man. So I mean, I just got a touchdown scored on me too. So it's not on one guy. It's a team effort, and we just didn't come, as a team to win today. So we just didn't have it. They outplayed us.
I know you've probably been asked this, but it's hard to make sense of what we were all sitting here talking about 2 weeks ago when you guys beat Ohio State to what's happened the last 2 weeks. Can you make sense of that, or is it as simple as?
Just got to come ready to play. Every week, every game's tough. It's a Big Ten game, and there's no slouches in the Big Ten. And you don't come ready to play. Sometimes stuff happens, and just got to be prepared throughout the week, and just come ready to play.
Josie said he talked after in the locker room about, do you want to go to Detroit, or do you want to? I mean, you guys still have stuff to play for here.
100%.
So what's the?
We just got the biggest thing right now is we got to play to improve.
Yeah.
Obviously, a bowl game is something that we want bad, and we want to go somewhere nice. Obviously, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But right now, our biggest objective, I think, is to improve as fast as we can, so that we're ready for Nebraska.
Thanks, Bo.
Moving pretty good.
Was that the issue with that punt?
Yeah, I thought I could field it clean, and obviously I was wrong.
Yeah, were you surprised at how short it was?
I mean, I knew that he was kicking into the wind, but I still got to come up with that.
Was there any thought of maybe letting it bounce and not trying to field it? Or?
I felt confident that I could get there.
I mean, special teams was big today. I mean, it was a big part of the game. But you're saying it was more than just the wind?
As far as?
Just like some of the mistakes that were made in special teams, punting especially.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for our punt team or anything like that. I'm not on that unit, but I know on my end I need to be able to field the ball clean, and I need to do that today.
Yeah. Is there any explanation for how this team could look so good 2 weeks ago and then so far the next 2 weeks? I mean, is there anything you can even think of?
I mean, we just got to get back to executing the fundamentals. That's something that we're not doing well enough right now.
Thank you.
How do you explain that at this point in the season? You've had so much practice at doing that, and it's got to be frustrating not to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to continue to practice on if you're going to be successful. And obviously we weren't able to do that today.
A couple guys have said it felt like Purdue was a little more focused, had more energy. Would you agree with that? Were they more ready to play? Did they want? It's cliche, but did they want this more than you guys today? When you look at it in hindsight.
I don't know if I felt that being on our sideline, but obviously they came out and executed better than we did.
Thanks, man. Asked this, but and I guess I asked you this last week, but trying to make sense of how high you guys were 2 weeks ago to where you are now. Is there making sense of it? Is it?
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to tell you the same thing I told you last week. It's details and execution. I think, I think you really need to give them their due credit.
Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue. They played really well. They brought a lot of different fronts at us. And I think they certainly played better than they have the past couple years. I think it's where we need to start is with our, what we can control. That's our own execution, the way we operate. Top to bottom, it just wasn't good enough today.
Do you feel like it's there? I mean, we saw it against Ohio State, but then, Nate came into the post game and said it felt like Purdue was, hungrier than you guys were, more energy. I don't know if you felt that way. Is it?
I think everyone has their own way of their own perspective during game day, and I'll speak for myself. I'm not paying attention to the other team or what their energy. I mean, for me, if you're spending the time to worry about things that are outside of your control, you're opening the door to leave something on the field. It's not something I personally pay attention. Now, watching the film, that's where I'll find out. But during the game, that's not a time or a place, for me to peek at what they're doing.
Offensive line, you guys were so good against Ohio State, but have had trouble protecting Nate the last few